if I could ask everyone just to turn off your cell phones just while we're here. Give everyone a second for that. I want to say welcome, hello, and thank you everyone for their love and support during this time. As most of you probably know, I'm Chris, one of Richard's children.
Favorite?
Some might say the favorite. It has meant so much knowing how many people in Richard's life has touched, and how many of you are here today. We know that we are all dealing with the loss of his passing, and would like to take this time to talk and remember about him. The first to speak is Bob Seguin, Richard's brother, and perhaps the one who has known him the longest, being the eldest of his siblings.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome, everyone. As Chris said, I'm the eldest brother. And as I said to several people, and Luann mentioned, they know Rick the longest. Yes. But our age difference was enough that I never was in the same school except once with Rick. And I was in Sudbury, when we lived in Sudbury. I was in grade 7 and he was grade 1. The rest of our lives were in different schools, different friends, all this stuff. Until we were working on the farm, or our careers kind of not quite intersected, or we were celebrating Christmas, Easter, birthdays, things like this, and weddings. So with that, I want to be very honest with you. This is not something I ever anticipated. I would be at a funeral home to say goodbye to my brother. He was Rick. Rick always had a certain life to him, a certain energy. You can see it in these photos, and you can hear it from Diane and others, and Luann, Chris, and all, and Jordan. It was so much fun. So he was also a lot of life at work and on vacations, fishing, hunting. Those two aspects of his life he picked up from his father, our father, who loved to hunt and fish. I fished a bit, but badly. I think John was a little better, but it was Rick's life. And I think Luann said the last time we met, before Rick passed away, that the freezer in the house still had fish in it, because he had been out again. So he really enjoyed those past things of life, but he particularly enjoyed his family. My sister, Lorraine, will be speaking to that. So I'm going to say something that my brothers and sisters don't know. I'm not sure Luann knows. I have my father's temperament. Rick had my mother's temperament. And we were playing, I think we're both in our late teens, early 20s. I was probably home from university. Rick was either from home from Ridgetown or just about to go. We're playing ball hockey in the driveway. Garage, which you shoot against, of course, and it had a doorway. Rick's taking shots. One goes right past my ear, hits the door frame. At the same point, my father comes out of the room, out of the garage, into the driveway. Boom! Of course, that scares him, naturally, and it also means he's going to tell us how bad and stupid we were doing this and shooting the ball at the garage and all this. It lasts 20 seconds or so. Meanwhile, I'm getting angry. Rick's looking for the ball. He picks it up. Dad walks back to the car, gets in the car, off he goes. Rick turns around, a little smile on his face. Nice day if it doesn't rain. Of course, there goes it. And Rick, to me, and I'll use this with my wife so she would better understand Rick, he always had that talent to kind of take some of the tense situations and calm them down. Always calm me down. I had a number of things here, and unfortunately, when I had cataracts, I got my long vision back. My short vision is terrible, especially if I'm reading my own writing. So I was going to tell a number of things. I got so long and things trying to put context around. So I'm going to pick up on a number of things where Rick's either surprised us or his mischievous character came up a bit, because you would not expect it at all times. Now, for some in the audience, and some of you will know, and some of you won't, Expo 67 in 1967, my parents decided to take us down from the farm. John, and I don't know if John was on the farm time, but Rick and I, working with our uncles. And I want to say shout out to Uncle Dan and to Carol and Sal before I understand it's live stream. So if you're watching and listening, thank you for participating. So we're going at the Expo 67. We're halting in South Lancaster, which is about as close to Quebec border as you can, but also near to the farm. And of course, we get in drive an hour. We're at Expo 67. Of course, it's huge crowds, much bigger than anything we've ever done. And they're long, long lineups. And of course, Lorraine and John are kind of small. And my father's getting tired of being lined up all the time. So he shoots us off at our age to wander. So Rick and I go and want to go to the United Kingdom Pavilion. And it's got a 3-hour lineup. So I talked to Rick, just go up a bit and I'll follow you. Thanks for taking care of my little brother. Well, we did that once, we did that twice. Then Rick's going up further on his own, By the time we finished, we were just in there after an hour. We go to another pavilion, we're doing the same thing. So he didn't need any more encouragement, but we helped us get to 2 pavilions in the space of time my father thought we were just standing in line. Now another one, and my brother John is responsible for telling me this, but John's responsible for doing this, but my sister Roxanne is the one participating. So there's a dinner at the house in Kingsville. I'm not there, of course, back at the university or something. And there's dessert and pumpkin pies on. Now, my mother makes very, very good pumpkin pie, as all of us know. And Roxanne goes in, gets a piece of pumpkin pie and some whipped cream, puts it down on the dining room table, and steps back to get something from the kitchen. Comes back, pumpkin pie's there, but not the whipped cream. As we all expect, she thought, I forgot. So on she goes, puts more whipped cream on the pumpkin pie, because you don't want cream, and down. And then she comes back, and it's still gone again. Of course, she knows that something's wrong. She gets angry, and then she takes the pumpkin pie back, puts the whipped cream on, brings it back, and for some reason, she leaves again. Comes back the 3rd time, the pumpkin pie is bereft of whipped cream. And of course, there's some chuckling phases, of course, and somebody looking angelic, which of course is Rick, because he ate it. Now, John reminded me that my brother was lactose intolerant. So despite that, he's eating whipped cream. So that was good. So I'm gonna give me some chance, now I want to talk about a few surprises, and now Rick was a pretty mild mannered throughout school. He did well, but nothing superb. Don't take this off. He had a chance to play sports. He played when we were living in Willowdale for the grade school hockey team for a pickup game of some sort, but they had uniforms. And he played net, and he got bombed, terrible. He had a bit of a smile on his face, but he learned a lesson, never to play net. But later on, he was up here in Kingsville, and as Roxanne mentioned to me, she was so surprised because he was playing on the high school team. I think it was the high school team. And he was playing very well, playing defense, so well that he kind of got a reputation, partially for playing well in defense, but partially also for fighting and willing to drop the gloves at a moment's notice. And that's not something we ever saw with Rick. And my father, who was really not that interested in sports, but this caught his attention that his son was ready to defend the team's honor and play well. So I come home from university, I hear all this. I don't believe this because Rick is not like that. Go to the game, there's no fighting. He and his partner, who looks very much like each other, almost could be twins for a second. They're playing a very good, hard game. Later on in the game, one of the forwards of the other team's going up fast on Rick's side. Rick, as a good defenseman, is trying to cover the center. It means there's a gap between him and the boards. He's coming in closer and closer. Rick moves slightly more towards the boards. Then all of a sudden, a hip check comes out. The guy's falling against the boards. He's sprawled out. The puck's loose. Rick, on he goes. Right now, I'm going around. My brother. Behave yourself. So that was one thing that was surprises. Buying a motorcycle was another thing that surprised us, because none of us drove a motorcycle. My father never even encouraged us to ever think of that. Get a 1-year bike, and that was as fast as we could go. So I believe the motorcycle shop is just on the other side of Wheatley. So he gets all the way to Wheatley and then drives the motorcycle back. To date, I never did ask him, how did you learn to drive the motorcycle if you had to go that far to get it? But anyway, he had it for a number of years, but as he had to go into first Ridgetown College for a semester, then to University of Guelph, it ceased to be as effective, and they sold it at some point in time. I wouldn't be surprised he had a little sadness, because he really liked it. And it really gave him freedom, because there were 2 cars, but if the oldest brother was home, that car was gone somewhere. So, now, 2 things I want to get into is the farm. You see a couple of pictures here on the farm. When Rick was in school, he had a friend who engaged in pranks. Rick, being a good friend, joined him in the pranks. One of the pranks went wrong. The principal called my mother. All of a sudden, Rick's friend was not quite as friendly anymore, but second of all, I think my father said, it's just a little too much. They thought, why not send him to the farm? It's a mixed dairy farm in Eastern Ontario. It's been in the family for now maybe 150 years. And it's quite old and everything. And my uncles were building it up, so having a nephew there to help. So we go down to the train station, Union Station in Toronto. Rick's there, he's keen to go. My mother's almost in tears because she's keen to. She doesn't want to let her baby go away on the train all alone. The conductor, when you think of it, any child going on planes or something, you always want somebody to watch them. But this is a train, the conductor's up and down. But the conductor assures everybody he's going to be keeping watch on Rick. Rick, off he goes. He doesn't look back. My mother's kind of moved. So I know Rick, he probably never phoned, of course. I'm not even sure if Grandma got him to do a few letters to Mom. Summer's over, he comes home, he's a big bubbly face, he's all keen. He's talking about all the cats he petted, the dog he petted, following the cows, as my uncles were taking the cows back to milking, all these things. And beautiful thing is he got to ride on a tractor. Then he told us he got to drive the tractor. So of course we're sitting there, John, like, ooh, this sounds great. We go and we drive a tractor. He forgot to mention there's a lot of work to be on the farm. So next summer I'm down on the farm, I'm older, but he gets to drive the tractor, I get to work. Then about a couple years after that, it gets turned around because John shows up and he can drive the tractor, Rick can work. That wasn't as much fun, but it was a unique experience down on the farm. We were kind of separated from society because dairy farming is like that, twice a milk a day, cows and pigs, crops, everything. So you get this kind of intense work ethic. You get to be with family because people would drop in. We would see things. My uncles particularly took care of us. I see my cousin Joan is here. When Joan was down to help our grandmother out, Uncle Dan every so often would take us to see a drive-in double bill at a drive-in theater, which of course for us meant as soon as the first film was over, we were gone home because nobody's going to stay up that late. We would go off to watch stock car racing. So we got a mix of experiences that really helped us grow up. We also got to learn a lot of self-sufficiency, a respect for real hard work that I think extended throughout Rick's life, both in his career and with his family. So that gives it. Now I want to talk about Rick. I know Lorraine's going to talk about the family, but one thing about our family was we had a number of boys as grandsons. And we had some daughters who have turned out to be as aggressive as the boys. So we had nephews and nieces at hockey games, ball hockey games. And all family gatherings, we would play in the things. And of course, as the more kids came in, there was the wider and larger teams. And sometimes it would be all the uncles, but then that didn't seem too fair because the nephews always won. So they mixed up the uncles so they could be balanced. And long, as time begins to really engage the family, a good chance for us all to participate with our nieces as well, our daughter and Rick's daughter, to really get engaged and play. And a few injuries, mostly on my half, but it was a good deal of fun and made our family get-togethers just a little bit more than just meeting for a while, having a good meal, off again. So I wanted to talk about that as well. But I also want to talk about one other thing that before we end off. Rick really surprised us by doing 2 things that were different. When he joined the federal government, he came down to live with my wife and I, and our son who was just born, for a couple of months as he got settled in and he was looking for another job. He was able to get a job with the Ministry of Agriculture, not because of me, because I was the brother that can't get involved. But he did it on his own, and he's working in another branch. But it's not quite the job. He wants to be out. He wants to be talking to some people. He doesn't want to be filling forms. So he applies to the federal government, gets a job at the regional office, which happened to be in Toronto. And he stays there for a couple of years. And then he gets another job, I believe it was in Guelph, and then he moved to Guelph. By that time, Paul and Diane are born. Our two are now playing with their two. And the families are getting together a bit more than we used to be. But all of a sudden, off to Ottawa. And while he was in Ottawa, he took French language training, which is a strong signal that you want to move up to a career pattern. But he did more than that. He went to Quebec City for secondment, as they call it. Living in Quebec City, unlike Montreal, in Quebec City, you are going to be speaking French. Not just at the office, but outside, all the time. You just get it. So by the time he was finished, he could speak to our father in his first language. I can't, John can't, Lorraine can't, because we didn't learn it as much, but he did. But it also meant that you get a chance to look at foreign postings. So the first was with CETA in Dhaka, Bangladesh. A different place in the world, something that my mother found quite challenging, that for her it was just a poverty country, and how could her children and grandchildren be living there? And she and Lorraine went down and visited for a while. Got to see that the children were saved, grandchildren were safe. Got to see a lot of poverty, though. Kind of something that would shock her, that living in Kingsville and other parts of Ontario, how that could be. But that also gave Rick and Luann a chance to really taste international travel. So back to Canada for a while, moved career along, the children get older, off to Dubai, which I believe late 1990s, early 2000s, which is one of the high levels where Dubai was crazy with just boom, boom, boom. So an exciting time to be in that place, an exciting time, anytime. And they lived there for 3 years. The children grew up further, got a little bit used to much different lifestyles, but also a chance to see things they would never see if you lived in Ontario. When they would travel back home, they would stop off in various countries, see capitals. They would never get to see all these experiences. So that was good. Then several years after returning to Canada, I think Rick was working with Ezio at the Toronto regional office, gone up to Guelph, became the Ontario regional office, and he and Ezio and a sizable team there doing good work. And then again, to get the offer to go back to Dubai for 3 more years in the early part of the 2010s, where Dubai is not growing as fast, but in comparison to us, it's growing fast. And Luann and Rick, the children were at home. Alma, myself, my wife, our kids are grown, they're at home. So we had a chance to spend a week with my sister-in-law, Rick, and my wife, and just as adults. And dinners, things. They took a great time to show us things we would probably never see. I always remember the thing, I don't know how they did it, but on our way to Abu Dhabi, the capital, on our way to go to a 7-star hotel, which is 7-star, and see the largest mosque in the world, a sandstorm appeared. Now, we all know snowstorms, but a sandstorm. I just don't know how he ever arranged a 5-minute sandstorm to interrupt us to get that feeling, then off we go again. By the way, there is no snow or sand after a sandstorm. The winds just blow it all away, so the road is as clear as if it never happened. So those were all experiences with Rick, the sharing, the career efforts, all this stuff, all these other things that went, plus raising a family, and then seeing them married, careers expanding. All this has been very, very good. Now I want to end off on 2 notes, and I have something here because I got it yesterday. I had been trying to get this colleague, Ezio D'Emmanuel, to see if he knew of Rick's passing, because they're very good friends, and trying several ways and couldn't find him. Then yesterday I get a text from Ezio. I'm going to read the words to you because I want you to hear them all. They're sending their heartfelt condolences on Rick, pass them on to the entire family. My handwriting is getting worse. They had a treasured relationship with them, both professionally and personally. I think he and Rick and Luann and Ezio's wife participated in things. And they were really pleased to be associated with Rick, both professionally and personally. And he viewed Rick as a great human being and a consummate professional. Good high words from another consummate high professional. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all. I thought I'd give that to you, particularly Luann. And then finally, I'm going to end by talking about something that very few people would ever know about Rick, a little incident, and John would know the context. My mother played bridge with a woman across the street. They had 2 children, a daughter and a son. The son was developmentally challenged. We rarely saw him. Sometime when Rick was in his later teens, the young boy Mark would pop up and really want to play ball hockey because the other boys and girls either were too rough or they didn't want to play with him, but Rick would and John would. So if I came home and the 3 brothers were there, they made a better team. And I say this because every time you could see Rick, the eyes were brighter, there's more sparkle in them. It was kind of a special thing. And if Rick was there, I guess with us, or if Rick wasn't there, but the other 2 brothers, they were pretty good. But it didn't last very long. We didn't have much time with him. Eventually, parents moved, took him away. We lost track as things happened. I think John mentioned that they live in Leamington. John? Leamington. And the young man still alive. But it was such a thing to see what one person's actions, Rick's, could do to help another person's life, just even for a short period of time. And I want to leave you with all that. That's the kind of brother we had, that's the kind of husband you had, kind of father and grandfather you had, and a friend and cousin to many of you. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it over to my sister, Lorraine. No, those other seconds. Oh.
We're having a meeting from time.
Oh, okay, so no time. I get pumped off for the high time, the high profile.
Yes. Thanks, Bob. Thank you.
Grandpa, you planted more than flowers in your garden. You planted kindness, laughter, and wisdom in us all. You showed us that life is about tending to what matters, and that love, like a well-kept garden, grows stronger with care and time. Though you've gone, your roots remain deep in our hearts. We will miss your warm smile, the way your eyes lit up when you saw us, and the stories that seemed to hold the whole world inside of them. You've taken your final journey, but we know you walk it now in peace, and we carry your love with us always.
Thank you, Time. Now, Aunt Lorraine is going to speak a little more.
Luann, when you asked me to speak today, I was hesitant. It is an honor to talk about my brother, but I wasn't sure what I would say. Although having been Rick's sister for 67 years, I suddenly realized I didn't really know that much about him. Not his favorite color, food, TV show, not how he took his coffee or his tea. I couldn't tell you his favorite authors or his specific opinions regarding certain political or religious issues. But what I do know, is that my brother was a good man. Richard was a good son. He invested the time and effort to ensure that not only he had a relationship with our parents, but provided opportunities so that they might develop a bond with their grandchildren. Living several hours, if not an ocean and continent away, Rick, Luann, and family attended, as best they could, Seguin family gatherings, often using their own holidays to spend time in Kingsville with our parents. Long drives, weekly phone calls, and snail mail letters ensured a connection was maintained, even when excuses of distance and the busyness of life could have been made. As they aged, Rick and you, Luann, took on a large share of the responsibility for caring for them. He was a good son. He was a good nephew. As my brother Bob shared, Rick spent his summers from the age of 8 well into his teens, helping out on the dairy farm near Martintown. Even throughout his adult life, once or twice a year, often in the company of his brother-in-law Bill, Rick would head east to Uncle Dan's, where for 2 or 3 days they would work through a very long list of jobs, from cutting and stacking wood, putting up window screens, digging out a garden. Rick was a good nephew. Rick was a good brother and brother-in-law. Even with the demands of raising 4 kids, work that often included business trips away, and usually a long drive, Rick, Luann, and family could be counted on to attend family functions, often bringing the best desserts. He would volunteer to assist with home improvement projects for Seguin family members, organize the odd camping trip so his children could spend time with their cousins, invite siblings to join them on trips to exotic places such as Bangladesh, Dubai, and Spain. Rick and Luann often accompanied Luann's brother and sister-in-law on trips south to enjoy time on sandy beaches while sipping tropical cocktails. And when Mike, Luann's brother, became ill, Rick was there to support him in his battle with cancer. For my siblings and myself, I think we saw Richard as a gentle, soft-spoken man. However, he had a mischievous side and a quick but subtle wit. Rick was never one to demand attention to himself, but if you watched and listened, he could have you rolling with laughter with some of his remarks. Rick was a good friend. Luann shared that one of Rick's friends wrote her recently that he was truly a better person for having known Rick. What a lovely tribute, acknowledging the positive effect an individual has had on one's own life. Yes, our brother was a good man. Richard was a good grandfather. Ella, Nova, Time, Luca, Juliet, and Sammy. Your presence in this world brought such pleasure to your grandfather. He was always eager to spend time with you, afterwards sharing stories about your accomplishments and antics. You provided him with much amusement. He took his role of grandfather seriously, set on guiding, protecting, but most importantly, loving you. Proverbs 13:22 states, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Your grandpa, by being actively present in your lives, modeled values to create a stable foundation upon which you may grow. May your memories of him continue to lead you on a path of living wisely and righteously. Richard was a good father-in-law. Jason, Irina, from the beginning, Rick welcomed you into his home and treated you as true family members of the Seguin family. He saw you as his children, and you are right to call him Dad. Rick was a patient man. He was kind. I never heard him express envy of others. Knowing of his career, his accomplishments in life, or the lifestyle that he and Luann were able to achieve, one would assume he would have reason to be boastful, but I never found him to be arrogant. He seldom insisted on his own way. It took a great deal to make him become irritable. He wasn't one to be resentful or hold a grudge. He never gloated over the wrongdoings or misfortunes of others, but was genuinely happy when good things happened to those around him. Our brother was a good man. Richard was a good father. Jordan, Chris, Diane, Paul, your births brought such joy to your dad. His love for you was only equaled by the pride he took in watching you grow into the mature, responsible, caring individuals that you have become. He took great pleasure in supporting and guiding you as you worked towards and achieved your goals. Matthew 12:35. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things. Your dad had a good heart, and you, his children, are the good things brought forth and cultivated by the father that he strived to be. A father who was generous and kind, encouraging and forgiving, a father who was loving. Your father was a very good man. Rick was a good husband. Luann, 47 plus years ago, in front of friends, family, and God, you and Rick committed to being life partners. Those early years included difficult times and personal sacrifices, but there was always much love and much laughter. You supported Rick in a career that involved many moves, a career that allowed him to take placements overseas, placements that provided your children opportunities to widen their understanding of the world and gain knowledge and appreciation of other cultures. But whether busy with setting up homes in countries halfway across the world or back here in Ontario, whether dealing with changing careers or managing the challenges as teenagers, then adult children, whether coping with the demands of aging parents or experiencing the joy of welcoming grandchildren, even through all this, you both found the time to work hard at your marriage. You both continue to build and maintain that partnership, a partnership begun so many years ago. Fostering consistent and honest communication, sharing the responsibilities of home and family, expressing gratitude for each other through acts of kindness, by offering and accepting forgiveness, always aiming towards developing a relationship of mutual respect and positive growth. Anyone who knows you as a couple knows what soulmates you have become. Your marriage has been and is a beautiful testament to your children and others. Luann, there are many things I did not know about my brother, but I know Rick loved you, Rick cherished you. My brother was a good man. Be in peace, Rick.
Thank you, Lorraine. To conclude, I will do reading. I think Bob and Lorraine covered a lot about the kind of person that Rick was. He was a family man. He gave us, his children, a lot of opportunities, and he was there for us. And he was someone who was there for other people. A gentle farewell. You taught me that strength is quiet, that kindness is the loudest voice. Even in the stillness, I hear your laughter in the wind and feel your hand steadying mine. Though you stepped beyond my sight, you walk beside me still. Your life was a story of giving, not in grand gestures, but in everyday moments that stitched love into our lives. You showed me that greatness is measured in compassion, and that the truest legacy is the warmth you leave behind. I want to thank you all for coming today, for being with us, remembering Rick, for everybody who spoke about him, and for the wonderful man he was in the years he gave us. I think this will conclude the ceremony, and from here we'll move to the reception. And that's it. Thank you.
If I could have the immediate family just follow me out of the room first. We'll head over to the reception area, which is just straight down the hall. We do have a lift there for anyone that needs to use the lift.